their way over. If we could have everyone with us come over, thank you. Okay, we're ready then? Good morning. Thank you all for coming today. I also want to thank my fellow trustee, Roes, on our Fresno County Board of Education. We also have our CTA members. Thank you for joining us. We have our T Community Resource Center. We also have the Education Leadership Foundation and the Centro La Familia. So thank you all for speaking out with us. I just want to let everyone know that as school districts, we don't participate or enforce immigration policy. Our job is to educate students and ensure that while they are on campus, that they are safe. We have seen an increase in anxiety and fear in our undocumented community members from the immigration sweeps that happened last week throughout the Central Valley. When the CBP does not take a targeted approach, it causes panic. It hurts our economy, with workers afraid to show up to their job, and in many cases, parents become afraid to take their kids to school. And I want to assure those folks that our district at Central Unified will continue our non-discrimination policy based on citizenship status and fosters a safe and inclusive place for all students. Immigration officers cannot enter a school without a warrant signed by a judge. I have had great discussions with fellow trustees across Fresno and throughout other cities as well. As we foster the spirit of inclusion, we find best practices to better advocate for our students. Immigrants are not a scary other. They are our neighbors, our coworkers, our friends, and our families, our students. The law has been settled long ago since Plyer v. Doe. All children are entitled to a public education regardless of immigration status, and we'll do what we can to advocate and protect all of our students. With that, I would like to introduce Fresno County Board of Ed trustee, Itzi Roes.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Itzi Robles, Fresno County Board of Education trustee. So this morning I really thought about what I was going to say here today and had a conversation with my mother about just what I experienced as a child and why this issue is so important to all of us who are standing here today and all of those who have already spoken out about this issue. I came to this country when I was 5 years old with my little sister who was 4 years old. And lived most of my life undocumented. Went through our K through 12 system undocumented, attended college undocumented, and I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for the support that I received throughout my education. Shortly after I arrived, I was in first grade, my dad got deported, and it was over a traffic stop, something very, very minor. And unfortunately, during those times, Fresno PD cooperated with ICE. And that was a situation that very much impacted my family. And I just thought about how, at that age, I mentioned to my mom, I remember exactly when it happened. I remember where I was. I remember my parents, my mom crying, my family upset that my dad was deported. But I really couldn't remember if the next day I went to school, where I was in school, what I was doing. That part I don't remember. And it really goes to show that having our parents deported or dealing with these immigration issues is a real trauma that our families face. And so the one place that I always remember felt safe was school. Going to school was the place where I was happy. I had teachers that spoke my language. I didn't learn English until I was 8, but my teachers were always there. My teachers were supportive. I never felt scared at school. And so I think that the fear that our parents feel about sending their children to school is very real. It's very real. But I just think about how if my mom had told me, I won't take you to school, or I can't take you to school because your dad got deported and we're not sure if we're next or they're going to come for us, I don't know what I would have done. And I don't know how I would have felt. And so I hope that our parents can, in us being here and speaking out about this, they can see that we are really much acknowledging that this is a real issue and that we're, as a trustee, I'm going to speak out about it and I'm going to do everything that I can. This is to be prepared because we can't really predict what's going to happen in the next few weeks. But what we can't do is just be reactive, but rather we should be proactive and be prepared in the event that anything happens. And that means that our children have a person that we trust that may be able to take care of them if we're not there, that we have an emergency contact up to date in our school system, that we know where all of our important documents are, that we keep ourselves informed. And really our schools serve as those communication platforms, and they'll keep the parents updated on what's going on with partnerships with our nonprofits and other attorneys and other organizations. And so that's where our parents are going to be receiving the information that they need as fast as possible. And so I hope that our parents will see that we take this issue very serious and that they can find an ally in us, and that, this is very personal to some of us, and we know that this is something that we are going to fight for and that we're going to speak out against. And so I hope that all of you will join us in making sure that our parents are always informed and that our students are feeling welcome in our schools. Y para decir en español, porque también orgullosamente hablo español, yo nada más quería hablar hoy sobre mi historia, de que yo crecí indocumentada por la mayor parte de mi vida. Entonces, yo entiendo el miedo que nuestras familias están sintiendo en estos momentos, porque yo lo viví. Mi papá fue deportado cuando yo estaba en el primer grado, entonces eso fue algo muy traumatizante para mí, fue algo de lo que no me olvido, pero yo siempre me sentí segura en mi escuela, yo siempre me sentí que estaba protegida en mi escuela. Entonces espero que nuestros padres también tengan la confianza de que nosotros, todos los que estamos aquí, y también muchos que ya han hablado anteriormente, están haciendo todo lo posible por mantenerlos informados, de tener toda la información al corriente, de saber qué es lo que está pasando, de tratar de por lo menos ayudarlos a que estén preparados por si pasa algo, que ustedes tengan la información correcta en las escuelas por si necesitan comunicarse con ustedes o con otra persona que pueda ser responsable de sus hijos, pero que ustedes siempre tengan la información al corriente. Y nosotros también podemos ayudar a tener esa información como recursos para ustedes y trabajar con los diferentes distritos, y esperamos que ellos puedan darles esa información lo más pronto posible, dependiendo de lo que esté pasando en las próximas semanas. Pero estamos con ustedes y esperamos que ustedes también, si pasa algo, se comuniquen con nosotros y tengan a personas como nosotros con quien confiar. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce Priscilla Ramos with Education and Leadership Foundation.
Good morning, everyone. First and foremost, we at ELF want to ensure the community that we are moving in solidarity. We are thankful for Fresno area and school districts who serve the migrant and undocumented students. We have seen an influx in calls and foot traffic within our organization. We have heard the cries and calls for help within the parents and the students. We want to ensure that we are fully ramping up our services. We have been on the ground doing Know Your Rights presentations in partnership with Fresno Unified School Districts, and as well in partnership with other school districts and other CBOs, really making sure that the information is out to the public and everyone is aware of their rights, as well as increasing our immigration workshops. We also have Fresno Unified School District workshops in collaboration with Civic and other CBOs. During those workshops, we do have our attorneys present, as well as our DOJ accredited representatives, who are able to provide legal immigration advice. We want to ensure the community that us CBOs are doing everything we can to advocate at a local, state, and nationwide level for our immigration community, so parents and students feel safe when they're on school grounds. Parents feel safe to go to work and drop off their kids, and students feel safe to come to school. Another part that we also wanted to let everybody know is to follow us on our social medias. We are very great at disseminating very useful information, such as Know Your Rights, any other workshops we might have going, and that we are here to support the community. Thank you very much.
And we'll also now introduce Executive Director Margarita R with.
Good morning, everyone. So I'll give you Margarita Rocha, Executive Director with Central La Familia Advocacy Services. And so I'll give you a brief update of what we have seen in the last couple of weeks since the original fear spread through our community with folks being picked up by the Border Patrol. So first of all, let me tell you that as a community-based organization, we cannot interfere, nor will we interfere with ICE or the Border Patrol as they're doing what they're charged with doing, whether we agree or not. But more, I'm going to talk about the consequences of what impact it had in our communities and the fear that it has placed in our families. And obviously the consequences. Last several weeks, our offices have been inundated with calls, 50 to 7 calls daily solely regarding immigration, above and beyond what our normal work day would be. They're immigrant-related concerns. These numbers of calls that we're receiving do not account for the numbers that we are unable to answer just by the mere volume of requests that we're getting. But these calls, clients in paperwork to be mailed out rather than picking it up. Fear of attending person court hearings, seeking support services if they were, fear of seeking support services if they were victims of a crime, fear of not having the financial resources to obtain legal representation matters, fear of reporting crimes to law enforcement because of family mixed status, fear of going to the grocery store or even taking children to school. And this is where all of this feeds back to how do we keep our children in school. Some of the trends and observations that we have seen is our immigration service team has experienced an inundated workload, an increase from the volume of work that we have just in a normal day. We have seen an increase in clients seeking humanitarian relief. Health enrollment services have decreased. This is health insurances for children. Folks are afraid to come in and apply for them. There is a growing demand for Know Your Rights materials with numerous requests from school districts, health agencies, businesses, ag businesses, so that all of this that I reported relates back to kids coming to school. Because a parent is afraid to do their daily work, their daily lives, and they will not be there when their child returns home. So this is why it's so critical that is a collaborative of organizations, a collaborative of our school districts, a collaborative of other service providers, health insurance, that we all work together to try to alleviate the fears and protect our community. Thank you so much.
And if you'll just indulge for a moment, we're also going to have a Know Your Rights presentation, also from Central La Familia.
So, good morning, everyone. Mario Gonzalez, Deputy Director with Central La Familia Advocacy Services. I'm not an attorney. I am not an attorney. This is not legal advice. I am providing, though, information on Know Your Rights. We are going to be handing out red cards along with other organizations locally. Our partners like ALF, like Civic, like CBWO, we're all in partnership working together to distribute this information. These red cards provide information on one side in language, whether it be Spanish, Hmong, Punjabi, We know this does not just affect our Hispanic population, but it affects all immigrant populations. And so we are providing these red cards. These red cards talk about what you should do in case CPP or ICE shows up at your door. You're not supposed to open your door. You have the right to ask for a warrant for them to be able to enter your home. Without a warrant, a officer, regardless of who they are, federal, state, or local, they're not allowed to enter your residence without your permission. By you opening your door, you're allowing them to come in. And so we inform our community that they should not open the door. They should verify that the person outside, what they are, who they're looking for, ensure that if they are indicating that they have or should have access to the home, that they're providing or presenting the documentation to be able to be allowed in. A warrant is signed off by a judge. A order of deportation, order of detention are not signed off by judges. They're not judicial orders. And these documents are usually very different from one page for an order of deportation, order of detention, usually about 1 page, 2 pages long. A order for search warrants, usually a packet of documents that are presented. And so it's very important for our community to know the difference, to know that a order of detention, order of deportation does not grant an individual to enter the residence or the privacy of a person, whereas a search warrant, whether or not you open the door, they're going to come in. So there's a big difference. So by not opening the door, you're at least protecting yourself. So informing your children, your people in your household not to open the door unless they know who's on the other side, and they confirm that they know who's on the other side. On top, after that also is not answering any questions. We have the right not to incriminate ourselves. The Constitution and the Fifth Amendment protects us from being able to disclose or answer any questions. We can ask as many questions as we want, but we should not answer. If we answer a question, if they ask us where you're a citizen from, where are you from, where were you born, by disclosing that information, the burden shifts. Now it's no longer upon CBP to prove that I am here undocumented or have no status. Now it's upon me to prove that I have lawful status or permission to stay in this country. So if we don't answer, we don't disclose any information. So it's very important that we not answer, not respond to any questions, not give any information up. Just remain silent, maintain silence. Ask if you're allowed to leave. If you're being detained or being held against your will, ask if you are allowed to leave. If you're allowed to leave, continue on your way. Do not run. Do not immediately try to hide. Just walk away, continue on your business. Just don't answer any questions. You can ask questions, don't answer any. Lastly, don't sign anything. If you are detained and you are taken into custody, do not sign any document. Do not sign your name on anything. Ask to speak to your attorney or ask to speak with your consulate office. Every individual who's here, either documented or undocumented, with the visa expiring, if they are detained, they have a right to access their local consulate, and they have a right to speak to an attorney to be present with them to answer any other questions and guide them through deciding what is the best option for them, because they might have a case that they can fight in the United States and be able to obtain status. So it's really important that they ask to speak with an attorney. Even if they don't have an attorney, ask to speak to an attorney immediately, that your rights are protected. And then if you are encountering ICE at any location or any space, have this red card with you and present it to the immigration officer. If the immigration officer does not speak your language, you can present it to them, show them what your rights are, indicate that you are abiding by your rights and you're wanting to exert your rights. By doing that, person and keep one in their vehicle. That way they have a card with them wherever they're at, and they can use it to protect themselves. I'm going to repeat this information in Spanish for our Spanish audience. So, muy buenos días. Mi nombre es Mario González, soy el director adjunto con Centro de la Familia. El día de hoy voy a informar un poco sobre sus derechos. No soy abogado, esto no es consejería legal, solamente les estoy compartiendo lo que las constituciones y las leyes nos permiten en este país. Toda persona en este país tiene el mismo derecho, tiene la misma oportunidad y tiene las mismas protecciones legales, sin importar si llegó el día de hoy o lleva aquí toda su vida. Estas leyes protegen y indican es que tenemos el derecho a no tener que contestar ninguna pregunta a ningún oficial. Si un oficial de inmigración o un oficial de policía, cualquier oficial se presenta en tu vivienda, toca tu puerta y piden. Estamos informando a la comunidad que en sí no abra la puerta, que enseñe a sus hijos a no abrir la puerta, a indicar a enseñarlos y practicar con ellos que es muy importante no abrir la puerta a ninguna persona sin saber quién está del otro lado. mantener silencio, no contestar ninguna pregunta. Si es que llega inmigración, si llega algún oficial a hacerte preguntas, te pregunta de dónde eres, de dónde naciste, muy importante no responder, no contestar, no decir nada. Tú tienes el derecho de hacer preguntas, preguntarles quiénes son, que te enseñen su comprobante que son oficiales, que trabajan con cuál agencia trabajan, pedirles un número de badge, pedirle información, pero no tienes que contestar ninguna pregunta. Si no estás seguro en tu persona y no piensas que tiene la capacidad para hacer preguntas, mejor no decir nada. Mantener silencio, no hablar, no responder y ejercer tus derechos. Lo que sigue también es, si es que te llegan a detener, te llegan a parar, pedir si eres libre de irte. Si te dicen que sí, sigue tu camino, no corras, no huyas, nomás sigue caminando hacia donde ibas, no cambies tu forma de ser, no cambies lo que ibas a hacer ese día, tú sigue yendo por tu camino. Si te llegan a detener y te llegan a arrestar, no firmes nada. Inmediatamente pide hablar con un abogado, pide hablar con tu cónsul más cercano. Los consulados en este país tienen que ser notificados inmediatamente si una persona migrante o persona que ha sido detenida ha pedido hablar con su consulado. Así que es muy importante, si te detienen, no firmes nada, porque al firmar algo, pues que estés perdiendo la accesibilidad, algunos derechos, alguna protección que tengas. No firmar nada, no decir nada, no responder ninguna pregunta, no importa qué te pregunten, no respondas nada, porque al responder estás dando información que puede estar en tu contra. Por último, estamos entregando estas tarjetas rojas en colaboración con varias agencias locales, CBDIO, ELF, Civic, al igual que el Centro de la Familia, estamos proveyendo estas tarjetas a la comunidad. Estamos entregando de 3 tarjetas por persona actualmente porque hay una escasez de tarjetas, pero pedimos a toda persona que esté interesada en obtener estas tarjetas, vaya a alguno de nuestros sitios, pida sus tarjetas, entregaremos 3 y le pedimos que mantengan las 3, una en su vehículo, una en su casa y una con usted a todo el tiempo, por si le llegan a detener, tenga una tarjeta cerca de usted y la pueda presentar a un oficial de inmigración. En la parte trasera tiene sus derechos en inglés para que el oficial a quien usted se está presentando tenga en mente de que usted sabe sus derechos, está pidiendo ejercer sus derechos y que usted no va a contestar y no le permite al oficial que le esculquen sus pertenencias. Cualquier pregunta estamos para atenderlos. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Our final speaker is April Henry, the director of the Teague Resource Community Foundation, or Community Center, sorry. Thank you.
Good morning. April Henry with Highway City Community Development and our Teague Center. What I just want to do is thank all of our partners who are here today and reiterate what has been said before, that to make sure, families, that you're talking to a trusted partner, to a trusted CBO, your school district if you're not sure where to turn. They all have migrant departments. It is critical. We've helped raise unaccompanied youth that their parents, they trusted the wrong partner. So we come to our parents today and say there are safe alternatives. Behind us, our school district, our community partners. There's other places like the Dream Center at Fresno State. There are places you can trust. So please make sure to reach out to those organizations for ways that you can be safe in your community, that your children can attend school and not be missing out on that critical education. So we thank you all for coming today, for our partners who are the trusted entities who will know how to get you in touch with lawyers and the right organizations to make your family safe. And so we thank you for those opportunities and these trusted partners to be with us in all of these things as we all navigate these unknown waters of our future. So thank you.
Thank you all for coming. We'll now open it to questions from the press. So from what I've heard, talk with other trustees and administrators, we are starting to see some students not show up. What we want to do is we want to get ahead of that, because I know at least in Central Unified in the past couple of years, we have had a strong reduction in our chronic absenteeism, and each of our sites over the past year or so have seen modest to excellent reductions in absenteeism. So we want to make sure that we are doing everything we can to let our parents know that school is safe, school is the best place for your students, for your children. So please make sure that you know that it's a safe for us, and we're doing everything we can to reassure our community. Next question.
So this is something we've been doing for years. It's not something new to now. However, over the last couple of weeks, we've done dozens of them. Thousands, not dozens, thousands of them. We've actually had to print internally 20,000 more that we just received this week that we're going to be distributing out to the community. However, it's not just Centro La Familia that's doing this. It's all the organizations locally who are going up and above and printing out their own red cards so that we can get them out faster in the community. ILRC does a great job at putting this out. However, they're just one organization. And so with their permission, we've been allowed to print these on our own so that then we can get them quicker and into the hands of our community who needs them.
And they are free. There's some people that think that
they are free. You should not be paying for these. We also have a QR code on our website and on our social media where you can actually download a version of this for your phone. So they're readily available. They are free. We are limiting it to 3 per family just because we're trying to get as many people as possible.
Another question here?
Yeah, what are the main uses? Both Priscilla and Margarita mentioned you guys getting a lot of questions. What are the questions?
Well, some of the questions that we're getting is, what are my rights? And how do I get a hold of an attorney? And realistically, we have to respond in such a manner for each case because they're all different. Some of the folks who are undocumented at this point don't have any relief legally. So that's the other hardship that we face is that some individuals don't have any relief, and we have to realistically just say at this time there is no opportunity. But where there is the opportunity, for example, I know that there are many legal residents that are now eligible for citizenship or naturalization. So that's one of the other things that we're doing is encouraging those individuals who are eligible for citizenship or naturalization that they do so because they're in a better position than to help the rest of their family as they become eligible to apply for them and then provide the safety net. But the main things are, what do I do if I get stopped? What do I do with my family? What about my children? We go back to the school issue. And so that's part of what we're also doing is showing families how to, what we call a family preparedness process in terms of if you are picked up, what happens to your children? Who has the right to pick up your children? Who has the right to take care of your children? Who has the right to make medical decisions for your children? So those are the types of things from the school perspective and the parents is, what do I do with my children if something happens? What do my children come home to? So that would be one of the top ones.
Right. I will just echo what Margarita just said. We are getting hit a lot of those influx calls, especially with these recent raids as the what if scenarios. What if, I'm driving to school and ICE stops me? What do I do? What happens to my child? So I will again echo what Margarita said. Really know your rights. Be really well informed, and also assert your rights. I think we as CBOs can only do so much in informing you for your rights, but really allowing yourself, if you do come in with that scenario, to assert your rights and be really well aware. Another question that has been coming is potential immigration reliefs, right? A lot of the community members have gotten consultations in the past. We're asking to reevaluate those consultations. Sometimes laws do change, so please don't be afraid to call either trusted local attorneys or trusted local CBOs to get those consultations reevaluated. Yes.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? I'm not as fluent in Spanish as I'd like to be. I'm still in my second year, but I know that at least in Centro Unified, I know this past week we passed a resolution reaffirming our commitment to protecting all students, including undocumented. And in my conversations with administrators, that there's also going to be, more trainings as we, training staff on what to do in these scenarios and what you're not allowed to do. Just because we haven't had this kind of level of fear in the last 4 years, and it's going to increase, and there's a lot of questions. We want everyone in our districts to know what they should be doing. And I've been talking with other trustees in Fresno Unified, Sanger Unified, Visalia Unified, and other districts across the state. It's also finding, hey, what trainings do your school are getting, and what are we doing in our district that you guys can copy? And just want to have a message of unity across all of our schools that, wherever you go, whether you're on the west side of Fresno or the east side, north or south, that school is a safe place for you. Well, I know in Central Unified we have an interest in making our workshops hybrid, but I think Fresno Unified, you guys were talking about, you guys have workshops coming up as well, right? Do you want to speak on those?
So, and they have a series of workshops coming up through a partnership with Fresno Unified School District. It is informational, and then we try and also provide one-on-one consultations for individuals. Like ALF, we do have accredited representatives. So in collaboration with ALF, with Civic, with Central Community, and other local recognized and accredited organizations through the Department of Justice, and we're able to provide these legal consultations and give them legal advice on their immigration issues. Again, we're not attorneys, but we are recognized by the Department of Justice, so we can provide legal counsel on immigration issues. And so through that, we are posting on our social media whenever workshops are available, as they become available. We don't post everything because some of these are private events, and so if they're private, then CBP, ICE can't show up to these. They're not invited to these. And so when we have public or not be able to deter CBP or ICE if they show up, because it's either by recitation or by invite only.
One last question. Well, these rates started last week, and this is our first week in session. So we're seeing, some apprehension in showing up. We're going to have more data as we move forward throughout the rest of the school year. My hope is that by advocating for our students and by communicating with the public that school is a safe place, that we're going to be able to hedge off the fear and any increase in absenteeism, because that's going to hurt, not just that student, it's going to hurt, the whole district as well, with any rising absenteeism, it hurts, the whole community. So, thank you for your time, and we'll be available for individual questions after. Thank you.